Blog Talk Radio.
Hey guys, this is Those Guys with your host Matt Marrero, who did not prepare to start, currently eating pizza, along with
Satish Ram, who is deaf right now in the ear that he uses on the phone to podcast. So obviously we are extremely efficient and prepared tonight.
Oh, was it my fault or?
Not at all belonging to you, waterlogged ear kind of thing. But all day I haven't been able to hear in my left ear, and it's really annoying because I thought about it earlier. Was like, of course, the day that I really want to podcast about something, that
wouldn't you agree that God gifted you with two?
I don't use the phone on my other ear. It feels horribly inconvenient. You piece of shit.
No. I was hoping you'd pick up on the God gift part.
Is this an atheist joke again?
Yes.
Okay, I'm okay with this.
I'm sorry. I just think it's that's the funniest thing to say to someone who I have no problem with people who are atheists because I don't know what the hell I am.
You're Matt Marrero, and this is
I
Those
believe
Guys.
In love. That's all I know. I believe in love. But it's just really funny. I think the phrase, you're talking to someone who's atheist. So your God-given talent, your God-given right. And you just slip it in there and see what happens. Especially because I know you. I like you. So I can do that to you. Like I wouldn't do that to a stranger. That's kind of rude. But yeah, so here we are.
We've built a rapport.
It's been a
on
while.
Steven Universe.
It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a long while since we've done this. So we're doing Season 2, Episodes 1 and 2. We're doing Full Disclosure and Open Book. Now, what's funny is some people might say, but those aren't right. Okay, I know, because, we've had this discussion, Satish. Sadly, all right, so these episodes were aired out of production order.
Right, so when we podcast, we're doing them based on TV airing order for your,
and
preference.
We're sorry. Yeah, and we're sorry to anyone who really wants to push for the production order, but I just completely disagree with it where we're going to do it. We're going to have a sword battle. We might. And I love you guys. I love our fans. We might have to come to a sword battle discussion over it because I cannot in any way sit there and feel, yes, they were not made with continuity. Like, they weren't made in a way where they, directly go against any continuity stuff. It makes sense. Oh, yeah, it could be here. But it aired here. So it's really going to be frustrating for a lot of reasons why you've just tried to replace it into other parts of the season just because it's production order. Someone trying to look at trends for the show. Oh, how has the show been doing? Let's look at the trends rating-wise. Immediately just go from March to April to March again.
Yeah,
and it's like, wait.
I think what happened here, if I remember correctly, Full Disclosure was right after Jailbreak and that whole little...
Yes, so that
right?
makes
and
sense.
That was, it was a Steven bomb. And we had Jailbreak the Thursday night as part of a two-parter, and then we had Full Disclosure on the Friday. That was the Friday episode to wrap things up. And then the week after, we got Open Book, which was just
we did.
Produced at it doesn't matter where that falls into the line continuity-wise because it was just a cute one-off. So, but Full Disclosure was the big, sort of the big one here for a bit. Open Book was. I feel like there was a lot of fan service in there in the sense of, not in general fan service, actually. Fan service is the wrong word. Toying with us, essentially. Like, they were having fun with us in Open Book. And I liked that. I felt like it was a conversation between friends. Like, Open Book felt like you and I talking to each other in a fashion where we make jokes to each other, knowing what we like best. Like, you'll make sports jokes to me, I'll make jokes about tokusatsu. Like, it felt like, I see what you did there. Kind of thing. You pieces of trash.
Did you say I'll make sports jokes to you?
Yes, you try.
Oh. Joe, I thought you meant more like, because that's your thing, Matt, sports. And I'm like, no the tokusatsu one was the one.
Yeah, that's why I said I make the tokusatsu.
Relatable. Yes. Okay, that makes sense. All right, I get you. That makes sense. But yeah, so I really enjoyed both episodes. But yeah, just to tell some, I understand how this how Open Book can technically pop in anywhere, but again, it's just the air date wise, we're sorry, right? we're going to go through it air date-wise. So when we say episode 2, we are referring to open book, not to whatever episode 2 was.
Right.
Or
so
what it's listed as.
Now we got that out of the way. We got full disclosure and open book on the horizon. So
full disclosure, very interesting to me only because aside from the general tones that I'm going to talk about and that we're going to talk about, in the episode, or at least how it made me feel, like, it's like the certain situations I think that arose. I want to mention the song, right? Not talking about how if it was good or bad just yet, but the actual content of, how it became a flashback in a way. In my opinion, it really shows how they wrote that in knowing that it would have a hiatus. I mean, that's just me. It really felt like it was going to have a hiatus, but because, of course, as we know, right, talking about Steven Universe and even Gravity Falls for as long as we have been, you're completely up to, you're completely to the mercy, right, of the company that is airing your content. So you're at their mercy, at their will. You can just be, moved here, moved there, different channels, not different channels. Well, actually, maybe depending on how big the company is, different times, different days, just different release schedule. So you can tell that this was around the time Steven Universe really became popular, in my opinion. So they wanted to churn them out more than they had before. But in my opinion, this episode really felt like it was meant to air weeks or months after, not the next day.
That's interesting. I don't disagree with you. That's just not what I got from it. So I'm interested in that.
It's only from the music, because when Steven was singing that song, the song was just fine. It didn't seem like it had to be, separated at all. But they start doing a flashback of things, and yes, of things that happened just the day before. And I know, anime a lot. They'll always do that flashback in the beginning of the episode, or, and anime always does that to fill up time and things like that. But they didn't have to fill up. Steven Universe is not a show that needs to fill up time. It's 11 minutes long. They don't need to sit there and go, crap, how can we use stuff from last episode to try and make sure this goes through? No, that's not how Steven Universe works, right? So for him to make a song about having to protect her and having clips from things that we just saw yesterday in real, talking about it when it first aired, it really made it feel like the Steven Bomb thing. Well, the Steven Bomb thing may have happened, that may have always been a thing. Like, we're going to have that Steven Bomb. That's just how it's going to be. We're going to air them in a row. But they had 5. They made it a 2-part on Thursday, right? They made that into a 2-parter. Okay.
That I think adds to you being right here. The fact that we're here discussing episodes out of production order, I think actually adds to your logic here. Because you're probably correct that the Steven Bomb was not an intentional or an expected thing, so it threw them off a little bit. And that's why we're here discussing things that were produced for a different order. And then we had things shift around from season 1 to 2, like Story for Steven, which is still something I get excited about.
Yes, I do think that the Steven Bomb could have been predicted. It's just that how after that you also notice, now that we have hindsight, that the episodes have been coming out quicker because they're clearly getting that high demand. Cartoon Network is saying, hey, you guys can keep them coming, right? You don't have to wait. In the beginning, right, when the show first aired, the show's been around since 2012.
Right, and now we've got... We've got the hiatus until the next year just to give them a break because of the amount of work they've been put under.
Exactly. So it's been around for a very long time, and out of nowhere, at least in my opinion, it felt like out of nowhere, it just became super pop. 2013, by the way, sorry. It's just been, it immediately got popular, and, at least Cartoon Network considered it popular. Right? And then they just start, in a way, rushing them, having them every week, having multiple Steven Bombs, which is crazy. Having 5 in 1 week, 1 per day. So technically we had 6 that week because, again, we had that 2-parter on Thursday. That's what I mean, where we could have had the 2-parter be separated. But even by putting those together, that immediately destroys that next episode because that episode, we thought it was the end of season 2, or the end of season 1. But really, we learned later that it was just the first episode of season 2, and it threw us off. The episode, full disclosure, it really threw us off because we're like, oh, so this is like wrapping everything up before the end, and then it's just, oh no, that's actually the beginning. So when you hear that it's the beginning, you think, huh? Think of any show that you like. Satish. Hell, think of Scrubs. How crazy would it be for just the night after a Scrubs season finale to just be like, and here's the newest episode of Scrubs?
Yeah, it would throw me off.
Completely.
It would really throw me off.
You know, even if it's just recapping what happened last time. Still, now that you know that it's season finale, it kind of like puts a weird, you know, spin on things. But it's still a great episode, though. I still really enjoyed it. I think just the impact was a little bit, like, was taken away a little bit by having it right after. Right, by having it just the next day. But still, it's still heavy, though. It's heavy, Doc.
Yeah, no, I liked it a lot. I thought content-wise it was a really good episode. And I liked things that I think came off as subtle. Like, when after Steve, you know, it's essentially the 3/4 of the episode or so were treated to, like, Steven's mind manifesting in the sense of, like, we see him first try to tell his dad what happened. His dad freaks out, right? So he's debating.
Heavy metal freak out.
Yeah, that was hilarious to me, by the way. It's like, relaxing music. And I was like...
and he's having a heart attack because he doesn't want it. So he's having a heart attack.
So we saw Steven react to that, and he's like, oh. And then, you know, he's walking through town, and you see him, like, noticing the town, like, the big donut is effed up. There's wires. There's destruction everywhere. And every step he's taking, he's there, like, wow. Things happened, like really bad things happened. And he's sitting there because he's really concerned about Connie, and he saw the way his father reacted. And his immediate reaction is, I really don't want that to happen to Connie, because Connie, you know, he doesn't realize it, but he's in, like, puppy love with, like, he's in love with Connie. So he's just, at the very least, they're best friends. And he's just like, oh, my God. Connie's like, and Connie is essentially his closest human friend. I mean, he's got Onion.
Also, yes. We have Onion. I love that sentence. We have Onion. No, the thing about Connie is, while she's a lot stronger than Steven thinks, she is also a worrywart, so, because of her mother. So, which, it's funny how she doesn't realize that a little bit, where she is definitely a bit more, I would argue, street smart than her mother, maybe. But at the same time, you know, I do feel like, I don't know, I feel like, but still, the point is that you can tell that she still does take certain things from her mom. You know, sometimes you sit there and you go, oh, you know, my legal guardian, whatever it might be, you know, they stink because this, and this. And then as you grow up, you're like, crap, I'm also this. Not this, but I'm this and this. Right? So you start taking, so I feel like she is a little bit like her mother. So Steven, while I don't think he was completely correct, I can understand a little bit of where he was coming from. I'll mention a little later why I don't think he's completely correct, but I do understand why in his head he's thinking, man, like, she really cares about me. She worries about me. This will cause her to really worry.
Yeah, and, I mean, if I remember correctly, he's got a black eye in the episode, right?
Yes, he does. Yes, he does have a black eye. So that, of course, there shows that some shit went down.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's a whole, you know, and his message was essentially the world is ending by. So, like, there's a lot of, you know, you put this all together, and it's a lot for, and Steven's 10, essentially, if I remember correctly. So, there's a lot that has to go on here in his mind, like, the functions of his mind here, to sit there and think, like, oh, my God, like, you know, how do I tell Connie this? And the song itself was really cute. I
do like the song. It was just really hard because Stronger Than You is such a hard act to follow.
I liked it, though, like, melodically, like, music-wise.
Oh, no,
I really liked it.
Just,
and when he sings along with the cell phone ringtone and everything, like, it kind of, like, hits me where I'm like, that's cute. He's really, like, you know, he's having a moment.
It's hard because I never like to compare things. I usually, and it's funny, Matt, you're a podcaster. Yeah, but I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, Gravity Falls is so much better than Steven Universe, because, no, like, it's to me, a lot of things, it's very hard for me to compare because it truly is comparing pears to apples. And you can like pears more than apples, but it's just really hard for me to say, yeah, pears are just better than apples. You know what I mean? So it's hard for me to compare usually, but it's a really hard act to follow when you have Estelle, right, who plays Garnet, doing an amazing song, a season finale, you know, kind of song. And then we have this come after, which is not bad at all. It was really hard. Like, it's just a tough act to follow, you know? So I sat there and I was like, this is nice. But, man.
Yeah, I mean, Estelle being an actual singer, so that's really is a hard act to follow. Yeah.
It is.
I totally agree with you. But no, I liked it because emotionally to me it was a moment where I get it. Like, I think when it's like you're better off not knowing the trouble I'm in. Like, I get that. Especially, like, as a kid, I remember having these thoughts, you know, thinking about, like, all these shit that I used to deal with, like, thinking of people, like, you don't have to deal with my stuff. I don't want you to worry about what I'm going through, you know, because you can't help it. And that's a situation here in a weird way. Like, not like I was fighting monsters or demons or anything, but, like, Connie can't necessarily, at this moment, like, he doesn't perceive Connie as being able to help.
Exactly.
But, you know, he wants her around. So big conflict there.
Definitely. One thing I want to ask you, I was saying before. Okay, so the way the episode started, this is before he's talking to his dad or anything else and seeing the destruction of the town, right? Is it weird that this episode, the way it started, made me think of New Year's? Do you understand why I'm saying that, or not in any shape or form?
I don't. Talk to me.
It's just the sheer chaos and the fact that it felt like a celebration. Like, we won! And it felt like that kind of, like, New Year's call where it's like, hey, a lot of stuff is going on right now. Woo, woo! Yeah, sorry, gotta call you back. I'm fine. We're all happy. All right, cool. Call you back later. Like, it felt like a 12 a.m. New Year's call, and it was weird. I was like, why is that the vibe I'm getting right now?
What I love to death is that they continued it from the exact second Jailbreak ended.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. It felt like a 12 a.m. like it like literally just like if you're there at 11:59, and not that the episode aired at 11:59, but still you're there, and all of a sudden just like boom, 12 a.m. Yeah,
so,
we get it.
Have you had a lot of those, Matt? Do you have a lot of experience with those? Is that what you're talking about? It?
Oh yeah, no. Like usually when I do my demon hunting and demon killing, it's around 12 a.m. Yeah. I mean, it's the witching hour, you know. One of the witching hours. It's 12 a.m.
the witching hour? I did not know that.
One of them. I mean, I believe, because it's always like 12 and then 3. You know, there's always different, I remember 2:30, I think, was like fucking Paranormal Activity.
Is it
like,
3 Because, you know, that makes sense, 12 and 3, because 3, you know, we're 3 hours ahead of the West Coast. So when it's 3 over here, it's 12 for them, which is the original witching hour. So we have to think 12 and 3. That makes sense.
I thought you were going to, you know what's really funny? I was going to go biblical on your ass. Like, 3, 3, 3. Like, I thought you were, because that's kind of what it's referring to.
Wait, so 3, 3, 3, if you double it, gives you 6, 6, 6, 6.
Yes. Let's go full Black Dynamite, which Apollo, like, just like, wait, what? But seriously, yeah.
The crazy thing is, Matt, is that 12 is twice 6.
And if you add 11 to that, it's 23.
Which is not the date we're currently on. So if we look at the date we're currently on, which is the 5th of November, and you reduce that 23 by 5, we're at 18, which is in many places considered a rite of adulthood and a rite of passage, which in the old days meant you had to hunt witches.
Boom. I think we just decoded the cipher. No, we're not doing Gravity Falls. Fuck, what are we? Did we just decode the cipher? I don't know. What happened there?
We've cracked the code. Steven Universe's witch hunting hour.
Oh, I was going to say, Steven Universe is coming back on the 18th. They just lied to us.
CM Punk is returning tomorrow. Wait, sorry, wrong crossover. But
18th. No, on the 18th. Please tell me the 18th is a Monday. Damn it, no, it's a Wednesday. He'll be back on NXT. Anyway, so... oh, good God. No, but anyway, it reminded me of a celebration, though. All jokes aside, starting off the episode. Usually I make some silly joke, but I'm being dead serious. It felt like one of those, sorry, lots of stuff is going on right now. It's pretty loud, you know? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, huh. Like, it just felt like one of those situations. And, okay, so when he started walking, though, when he actually started walking around the town, immediately different feel, obviously. Not a celebration. But it reminded me, I don't know if you remember the hurricane that happened a few years back, like a while ago. Like, I'm thinking maybe, all jokes aside, 5 years ago, when I was 18. Whoa, it's all coming together. No. But seriously, it was a while ago, and it was, I don't believe it was huge. But I remember it touched Queens. Like, it touched down on Queens. and a lot of trees and stuff got ripped from the ground. Do you remember that?
About Sandy?
I don't think it was not Sandy. Because Sandy was huge.
Yeah, because I was
smaller.
Like Sandy wrecked Queens for a bit, but yeah.
I don't believe it was Sandy. If it was, I'm so sorry, but I'm pretty sure it was separate because it was simply something that wrecked Queens, like, as in my area, slightly. It wasn't just a whole, like, oh, man, it destroyed everything in Queens. No. I remember just in my area, around my area, it was mostly near Metropolitan. I don't live near Metropolitan, but it was Metropolitan, Ridgewood. If it was Sandy, I'm so sorry, but I'm 95% sure it was a separate situation, which is why everyone was thinking the world was over. Because you have those situations pop up more, I believe, a couple years back, and it just felt really weird. Anyway, I remember coming from my ex's house at the time, and because we missed the entire thing because we were in the mall, right? So we didn't know what happened until we get out, and it's just complete destruction, and we're like, what the hell? So I drop her off at her house, and I'm walking back, and I walk past my current place of work, which is a high school, and it's just, it's near a cemetery, so it's nighttime too, so like trees have fallen down, power lines are down. I have to like dodge through trees like freaking Indiana Jones. Really nervous because I'm also near a cemetery, so that's never a good thing. Cemetery at night, hurricane destruction, no. All right? By the way, might have been tornado. That's, I think, the word I'm looking for. But anyway, complete destruction.
Or a tropical storm.
Possibly. The point is that hit, and it was kind of just this quiet, right? This silence, the aftermath, kind of walking through the rubble, and nothing is around. That's how I felt at that point, and it was really weird looking at Steven doing that because it reminded me of it, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, because, essentially, a hurricane hit Mead City,
Yeah, essentially, yeah. And, you just have no one. We learn later that everyone's fine and that it's a nice lesson. Time moves on, people move on, life, all jokes aside, it's like, not to make a shitty sound, life lives. Things just live on. So I enjoyed that. But at first, it just kind of felt like, is everyone okay? Because it's a ghost town right now. So it was, it's really funny you look at this show.
It was done well symbolically, though, because, remember, it's right about the song time that Ronaldo says, oh, did you hear? The mayor says we can go back into town now. So
yes,
it's really done well because he walks through the town, which is a ghost town, so he's still really sad. It's adding to his sadness. But right after that is when people are flooding in. So by the end of the episode, not only is that okay, but the town is live again. Everyone is back, and it's like a nice progression of emotions.
Yeah, it's really nice. And but it's also very interesting, just without giving any Gravity Falls spoilers or anything, it's so interesting how you look at the difference in the tones of the show, where this show, kind of had everyone going like, get out of town, prepare, run for cover. And Gravity Falls is the kind of show where it's just, we're going to kick your ass. It's really funny how the differences where, the mayor was like, all right, everyone, the Gems can handle it. We have to, evacuate. Gravity Falls, we're going to fight you. We're going to fight you hard.
It's cool because both of them represent unity, but in different forms, because you see the way the town is acting after they're coming back here, Steven Universe. It's like that happiness after, I think, I got in trouble for saying this once at a panel back at my college, but there is beauty in tragedy, and that is the unity that usually comes right after. And I really thoroughly believe that, because it's not me trying to find a silver lining in anything. It's just the idea that the time that you probably see people most united is right after a tragedy.
What gets me so mad, though, is that you got in trouble for that because of the fact that you used the phrase even. It's not even me trying to find a silver lining. And I'm like, but that's still a nice silver lining if that's what you're trying to say. I'm trying to find a silver lining. Are you trying to say that we should have more tragedies?
No, because obviously I would never suggest that. But I do firmly believe that, there's beauty in tragedy because you never see people more unified than after a tragedy or sometimes even during. As you described in
facing adversity.
That's when you see unity because people are, it's almost synthetic, but the actions that come from it are real.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah, it's very interesting, and I feel bad that you got in trouble for that, because I was going to make a joke when you said you got in trouble for this, and I was going to say, those guys, making it real, but that didn't sound terrible at all, and I'm sitting here like, oh. God forbid you're an optimist, am I right? Am I right? Atheist, God forbid?
I don't always choose shut up. I don't always choose my words wisely, and sometimes when I get emotional about something, it comes out a lot less professionally than I would hope. And the problem is if you don't, and you do this too, if we're not given time to explain what the original intent was, it comes out bad. Like if
I was about to explain that to you, yeah.
Because you'll say something, and then it'll sound bad, but I have to let you talk. Not because of anything, otherwise then I know what you mean. I know you don't mean anything fucked up, but you need to take a moment to explain. Because sometimes
I can convince people of extremely confusing things, and then they'll sit after listening to the entire thing, they'll go, damn it, it's right. He's right. It is a bit like New Year's. Why? Why is that relevant? But if you're on a panel, right, especially the panel that you were on with those people, I'll call them people, in the audience questioning you, there was literally no room for you to speak. And it was just like, that's great. That got me mad. That got me furious, man.
I got cut off I got cut off before I got to voice my opinion complete, and I was so upset because that video's up.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, it infuriated me only because of the fact that, you can say something like, look, the way I feel about torment, so yeah, he's talking about torment, which means he must love it, and that means he thinks that it's so much greater than not torment, and he also wants to hurt and abuse women because he's a man, and you're trying to get your point out. And also it's like, I'm sorry, your moderator said, I'm sorry, Satish, we have to move on.
Yeah.
And it's just like, great, so she basically put herself over, as if we're talking about a wrestling crowd right now, right? She put herself over the person who asked you the question as if she was amazing, and then left you out to dry. And it's just like, that's great. Because if the roles were reversed, right, then you would win. Because I think pretty much anybody would win if you cut off the other person.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's a pretty good strategy if you want to win an argument, because it's not an argument.
Yeah, and I get it because it's funny. We have controversial opinions sometimes. I was telling a friend earlier about. I remember when I had that whole phase where I was going off about Pearl being xenophobic, Pearl essentially being a racist, but I backed it up. I wasn't trying to be a dick about it. Like I just
yeah.
And so sometimes these things come off harsh, but it's what it is. I call it like I see it, and you do too. And I think that's what people expect of us.
Exactly, as long as we're able to back it up. So I think it would be really horrifying if you say, Pearl's xenophobic, and someone goes, but I completely disagree because, and then you're like, well, let me explain why. No, you said your point. No, I didn't. Like, who is someone else to say that you said your point when you just finished saying one sentence? They might think you're done, and then you say, no, I'm not done. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. But not, oh, no, you said a sentence. That's your point. Now I'm going to give my point that actually isn't a sentence. It's actually a full paragraph, but it's masqueraded as a sentence because I put commas in my speech. And it's like, go to hell. Right?
But no,
seriously, it's technically a sentence, right? But it's just like they let you say your one statement, and then their sentence is just kept on going with frickin' commas and semicolons, and you're like, I fucking hate you. It's not a sentence.
And it sucks because, and this is now me making fun of myself. I have a way of speaking because of the fact that I have to put this voice on, that I pause and I take moments. And when I'm with you, I will elongate the pauses sometimes as a means of getting you to talk, and you do the same thing. When I'm talking normally, however, I still will do the pauses every now and then. And some people will take that as a moment to, cut me off. And it's like, no, I need to finish. And then you can, it's a back and forth. But,
I love, hear me out, right? The way that I feel. Great, so I can talk. I didn't that wasn't a statement. No, he said he said the way that he feels. So now I'm going to tell him how I feel because he feels nothing because he took a pause. So, he's a chauvinist.
It's funny. Matt's still really bitter about the situation, probably more than I am because I had to get over it.
Has it been like a year or so? I'm just really fucking bitter.
It's been well over a year, actually. since it happened.
I'm just really fucking bitter about that. Only because, I mean, just, like, I really don't like the idea of cutting people off on purpose, because it wasn't once, it was multiple times she did this to you during that little thing that happened. And it was the idea that she was trying to paint a negative picture of you based on what you said, which, yeah, I can understand her thinking that way of you if without taking everything into account. But she did not let you bring everything to the table, you know? And that's just a really bad world to live in, a world where it's just like, oh, man, this person's stupid. Well, did you listen to their argument? No, because they're stupid. It's just like, that's not a world that, I don't know, it's not a world that I enjoy. Again, I mentioned, when I said in the show, like earlier, I was like, oh, I believe in peace and love. I do. Like, I wasn't kidding. Like, I actually do. So, like, it's really frustrating to live in a world where people will just not even listen to your entire view, right? Just think, oh, yeah, this person is like this. Now, everyone has their own experiences. They come into things with their own experiences. But just the idea of, oh, no, I'm not going to listen, and then I'm going to say what's up. And then you were telling me how afterwards it was like she was getting high fives from people as if she was like the fucking second coming. And it was just
I think that pissed me off a little bit because I'm a petty kind of person too.
Well, no, I mean it's just the fact that like you and her, I believe, agreed on certain things. It's just that a lot. Just because she didn't let you talk, it was as if she opposed you in a way that made her look better. Again, like I said, getting herself over. It's a wrestling term, but you can look it up, and it feels very applicable here as someone in the crowd compared to someone who is on stage, such as yourself. But moving on, talking about full disclosure, because we're actually not doing a Gravity Falls panel or a Socio panel right now. We're doing you're doing Gravity Falls. So speaking of Gravity Falls, I know it's Steven Universe. Speaking of Steven Universe, Greg made me sad. Because I know we laughed, like, with the whole heavy metal thing, but I would be freaked out as hell. I would be freaked the hell out, that's the phrase, if my kid told me, yeah, I almost died. Or, I'm sorry, not I almost died. It started off with, I was kidnapped. And then I almost died. That phrase.
No, I remember sitting there when I watched it again, too. But it was something where I do feel for him because I think at this point this is the most serious everything's gotten.
Yeah, I mean, it was serious. Ocean Gem stuff was serious, but he was also there to back him up.
Yeah, he was there alone the whole time. I mean, even being kidnapped and all that stuff, and it's also the realization that he can't do anything about that.
Yeah,
he
this
can only
happen.
worry as a father, and this can now happen again. Yeah.
It was really sad. But moving on to nicer things, right? The happier things. I love Ronaldo so much.
Oh.
They can never experience the things that we experience, Steven. Like Ronaldo, I hate
Ronaldo's a unique guy.
I love and hate Ronaldo so much. He's wonderful and I hate him.
In many ways he's us. And in many ways he's not us. And that's okay.
At least not you and I, us. Like he might be some parts of he's encompassing all parts of the internet, but not the same parts. You know what I mean? Doesn't that make sense? Like there has to be at least obviously one person or more, a lot of people probably that are just like him. But he can't obviously be the entire internet, like, everyone on the internet, because that's just generalizing, and we don't like to do that here. So, yeah, like, he's not us, but, like, parts of him are. Seuss, though, I have to believe, other than talking about Gravity Falls, the one time that Seuss was a little rude about D&D, minus that, I'm Seuss. I think you're Seuss. We're Seuss. That we can say, because Seuss isn't that much of a jerk sometimes.
I can't say that because I'm not as good of a handyman as Seuss is. I'm more of the aggressive internet blogger type like Ronaldo.
Okay. All right, that's true. I'll give you that. But also talking about something nicer I want to mention. Crocodile Jazz Hands is one of my favorite jokes in the series. So I'm going to put that out there. Crocodile Jazz Hands is one of my favorites.
Amethyst doesn't commit.
Well, no, she doesn't commit to the crocodile, not the jazz hands.
Jazz hands. Yeah.
I freaked out.
God,
I was like, wait, did we just have a jazz hands joke in I think at the time it was 2014? Still, it's like, did we have a jazz hands joke now? Did that just 2015 actually? That just happened. Yeah, 2015. Do we have a jazz hands joke in 2015 in a kids show? What the fuck am I watching?
No, I love this because I want thousands of kids to be out there like, what are jazz hands, mommy? And or what are jazz hands, daddy? And they're just now learning jazz hands, and suddenly you've got an elementary school full of kids doing jazz hands.
God, it makes me so scared of just certain types of people that are just all right, put that on the list of shows you can't let my kid watch because of terribly outdated views. Just all the little things that pile up, just jazz hands, a character wearing a dress, what, a guy and a girl fusing, and now they're, what? No,
it's a funny thought. All the things of grievances to people who are not ready to deal with the progressiveness of this show, and somewhere in there is jazz
society.
Hands.
Yeah, somewhere in there there's jazz hands. Jazz hands. Oh, my God. But, yeah, so now, before we move on to episode 2, I want to mention something interesting. So, okay, the end of the episode, I don't know if you took it this way, and I'm not in any way trying to say anything bad about Steven, but I thought it was an interesting take to look at possibly antiquated gender roles, but not do it in a way that made Steven look bad. I only say this because, well, I'm sure the opposite would be true if it was a female main character, wanting to protect a male character from this kind of world. But it's very interesting that it's a male, because he didn't really talk so much about, and I won't talk to my dad either. He was talking about humans, but he didn't say anything about him never speaking to his dad. It was mostly related to Connie. So I wonder, the show being the way that it is, taking on this progressive stance, I do wonder if it was in a way trying to also take a hit in the whole, the antiquated gender role thing of just, no, you're the woman, I have to protect you. Not that Steven is at fault in any way, not that Steven's a terrible person. I mean, he's fucking 10, right? But still, I wonder if it was a little stab at that because, I mean, hell, with some of the stuff that's coming up, they clearly take a giant stab, sword references, with where things are going with the whole, Steven, he's the man. No, that's not the case at all. There's definitely enough gender positivity to go around. No differences, no just, no, you're lesser than because you're this or that. No, not at all. And I think this was also a nice episode for that reason because Connie in no way said to, Steven, you're such an idiot because how dare you? I'm a woman and I'm strong and I'm powerful. No, none of that. Just, Steven, I care about you. We can do this together. It doesn't have to just be you. Because a lot of stories take on that role where it's the main character and it's just, I have to be dark and brooding. And I could never bring anyone into my life, especially a cute, sexy woman, because if I do, she may get hurt. But frequently interacting with men. But not a woman.
I think what lends itself to that, probably that being accepted more, this is not me speaking for the writers, but me speaking for the viewership, is the fact that they're kids. As you mentioned, this is not going through Steven's head right now, I don't think, because he's a 10-year-old kid. And what his big concern is regardless of, who Connie is, Connie is his best friend. If Connie was his best friend, the worries might be there, too. Now, we play it more because it is implied that Steven and Connie are love interests, but...
yeah. No, but I only bring it up because, again, maybe it's just me, but the show is very progressive, and I do think that, with future episodes, it pushes the idea that Connie is not a side character. She's not just she's just the woman. No, she's a person. So I do wonder if it was a little...
one at that.
Of course. And I do...
Hell, you look at strong views about anti-establishment things. But we'll get to that.
Hell, you look at Open Book, right? Technically, it would have been before this episode, but it did air after. The point being is that she's very good with a sword, or at least she is good with a sword. So, in no way is it, in no way is she just, a damsel in distress at all. Hell, her favorite book series started off as a story where, it wasn't a damsel, it was a woman, a strong, powerful woman, with her falcon, who she ends up in love with. Which, again, is another funny thing, because I wonder if that's also their way, speaking of episode 2, their way of kind of taking a stab at that, where it's just, she started off as a strong woman. Nothing wrong with marriage, by the way. Started off, or like loving someone. It's really silly to say that love is a bad emotion or anything. But it starts off as like, I'm going to fight against the world. It's just me and my falcon. And then eventually, who I'm madly in love with, who I changed into a human to get married to. It's a shift. You know, there's nothing wrong with schmaltz. There's nothing wrong with schmaltz, right? Stephen loves it, and I love it too, right? I don't know if I like 50 pages of a wedding cake, but I love happy endings, stuff like that. But it was definitely a sudden shift, and I wonder if that was their way, especially how they mentioned Connie. The views of Connie are great. Just, it's probably the production companies because the books got popular, and you and I sit there.
Are we on?
We jumped into episode 2. Yeah,
okay.
I jumped into episode 2 sort of. I just wanted to mention the gender role stuff before we moved on, but I think it's a great segue because the episode starts off with possible gender role stuff as well, because it starts off with her being strong, super powerful, and then, in love, again, nothing wrong with them being in love, as the wife, nothing wrong with being a wife or a husband, but still, it's that shift that's kind of like,
I think
right?
the opening to Open Book really got me to laugh because it reminded me of, like, my, like, I guess more spirited days. Because I was just sitting there like, God, I used to have passionate opinions about everything. And I would just voice them to anyone who would listen.
All right. I have to be honest with you. We're doing a live podcast right now. I don't think that fucking changed.
I do this for you.
Bullshit. I mean, thank you.
For you.
I mean, I'm not saying that you don't help me with these podcasts. Thank you. You're the person who helps me get to Blog Talk Radio in the first place. Thank you.
It's not because I did it before, but go on. I see your point.
Actually, thank you. Actually, thank you. I didn't even think about that. I usually do, but I didn't think about that too. He fucking podcasted before I was even in the picture, before he even fucking knew me.
By the way, speaking of, our buddy who podcasts on Podomatic, Gio, who runs Nerd New York, he refuses to introduce me as anything but like some kind of compliment related to President Obama complimenting my voice that one time.
Which reminds me, President Obama complimented your voice that one time.
And it's really annoying because you all need to not do that. Like, you had your phase too, and I'm laughing because, like, apparently it's just a phase for everybody.
Yeah, I only forget about it because I just do. But now that I remember it, it's probably going to come up again, so sorry.
I figured. But, yeah, it makes me laugh, like that kind of... Like,
which reminds me, when Obama, liked your voice that one time.
Get out.
But there was also that one time when Obama liked your voice.
I will hang up right now. I'm doing this for... I give it...
Trump will like your voice until... Trump will also like your voice until he knows where you come from. Trump will think you have an amazing... I feel like you have to somehow get your message across to Trump, your voice across to Trump, and then, like, in a game show just kind of way, reveal that you're not white. And have him become pale, so actually white. Because right now he's a nice shade of orange, but just have him go pale. Just be like, but you sounded like a young Republican. And you can whisper,
You're going off on so many different things tonight.
I'm very excited.
You've touched on gender roles, you've touched on politics, you've touched on...
Minus politics, right? Minus our jokes on politics and socio and stuff. Though the socio stuff did actually, because that was your panel and that actually made sense. The gender role thing makes sense. I mean, you look at this show, we have Stevani, right? We have, what Steven does in the future, that there were some people up in arms about it. We can't talk about it on this show because we don't want to spoil anyone, but you might find out as you watch the show. And, we have a lot going on in this show. Not just us, like the actual episodes. So I feel like we have some leeway. The politics stuff was weird. But again, you mentioned Obama, because there was that one time they liked your voice.
Okay, I'm done with this.
All right, cool. But talking about this episode, though, I really thought it was extremely interesting how they first off, they fucked with us. I mean, you noticed it after very soon because it is an 11-minute episode. But how it's just, I want to see you. The Cloud is like, yeah, sure, that's what you want. Boom.
Yeah, no, it's funny because rewatching it, I mean, it's easy to hindsight it, right? Like, oh,
because the cape.
There's little things. Like,
well,
also
okay.
the idea of, like, the general concept, right? Connie had, Stephen points it out. Like, Connie had so many detailed and thought-out opinions, right?
Right.
And then suddenly it became
she was completely subservient to Stephen's will.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's only the room will do that. Like, not even any human beings won't be completely subservient like that to Stephen in this realm that we have. So,
yeah.
And it was so interesting, I guess. I think rewatching it, knowing what I knew about the episode, I liked it more because I picked up on some of that stuff where I was like, I see what like, it's really well done. In the sense of...
but although it was a bit easier, I think, even at the time. I don't think I noticed it at the time, to be fair, but it still is very, very easy only because it was subtle at first, but because it's an 11-minute episode, it's not a 22-minute, 24-minute. It had to be very, like, at first it was subtle. Then immediately it was just boom, boom. Like, you can see the look on Stephen's face like, what? No. And then you're like, oh. Like, not that you know it's part of the Cloud, but you know that something is wrong. Because at first I think we both thought that the Cloud was messing with her somehow, not that the Cloud made a duplicate.
For me, I was confused. Yeah, I thought that, like, the room, I think my original thought, because this is taking me way back, so it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
I think it was that if you bring a human into the room, something might happen.
Yes.
That's what it was. Because Connie was, at the time, the first, I don't think, even up to now where we are in, like, actual episodes, that it's implied that Greg was ever in the room. So I don't think a human was ever in that room.
Exactly. So you don't know what's going to happen.
Impression that, like, that bringing a human into the room could do really bad things.
So
it wasn't until after that I realized, like, okay. But, like, I just have to get this out of the way. My God, they were toying with us. Like, Connie in the wedding dress more than once. They were completely toying with us.
Oh, yeah, especially because of the big reveal. It was just, wow, I love you guys that make the show, but screw you guys that make the show.
Yeah, no, I loved it, too, because not only did it come down to, like, I know you like her, and I know you want her to like you, too. And I'm like, are they? And then, tell her, Stephen, I like, and I was like, what? The ending.
The ending.
It was like,
it was great.
Phrased it in a way to get everybody mad.
Yeah, no, it was really funny because, I think that unless they do a time jump, I don't really see the need for them to start dating at 10 years old. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see the need for that.
I don't want to spoil another show, but Phineas and Ferb did something like that was really well received, where
I am only on season 1, and my fan fiction can't take what you're about to tell me. I don't know. I'm kidding.
Yeah,
fan fiction's great though, but I'm kidding.
They did a time jump episode.
Mhm.
What that basically focused on the love between Phineas and Isabella and how that eventually pans out.
Right. Interesting.
And I think it wasn't
that
10 years, but it was right when they were leaving for college. So it actually might have been like 10 years.
Well, wait, no, aren't they like 10? So it would be 8 years.
I actually don't know how old they are.
I've barely seen the show because you've shown me some episodes. I want to see more, but you showed me some episodes. I've seen some with other people. I've seen the Marvel one with some other people. It was really funny. But yeah, so was there a Phineas and Ferb Star Wars episode? Did they not do that?
Yes, there was, because Disney.
Okay, I never saw it, but I want to now, thinking about it. Anyway, so Steven Universe, so it was a really nice kind of way to play, on how we feel, right? But it made more sense just thematically. I don't know, personally, I feel like it made more sense just the way everything was flowing to just, take the whole aspect of the story. like the actual story they were reading, versus I totally love you, not out of nowhere. It wouldn't have been out of nowhere at all, but it would have been out of nowhere in context of what was going on in that 11-minute span.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Now, yes, in theory, you could spin it, which I wouldn't say it's wrong, to say, no, but he's showing her the most intimate place, like it's the most secret place, his mother's room, like that's so, you know, that's why it could stem from that. And I see that, you know, I do. But still, they're talking about the story so much. I mean, they start off with the story. He's only showing her the room because he cares about her and wants her to make her own ending. So, yes, it is an extension of, oh, I care about you. But again, you know, I don't see why in this specific episode it would have been better. Because I'll say better to just say, because I love you, versus I like the ending. You know, because they were setting up for some kind of... Because, I mean, hell, Stephen... Like, I thought Stephen didn't read the books the way he was describing everything at first. But then once he was actually making these items and these characters, I was like, wait, so he knows what the books are about. Probably not just from Connie talking about them. He's read the books. So what happens is he has read the books, and he just really loves that ending.
Yeah,
that Connie does not.
Do you remember that he originally read the books out of order?
I was actually going to mention that. I loved it so much because he read them in name order, I believe, like alphabetically.
He read them in order of what looked coolest.
Right. So he read like dragon stuff before he read the opening of the entire.
Like, 3? It's like, wait, because he's confused because he didn't read the first.
Yeah. Because some books don't, like, it's funny how I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the Harry Potter books don't say book. I mean, maybe on the spine they might say 1, 2, 3, 4.
No, yeah,
but they don't actually.
Correct. I have a handful of the originals, and I know what order they come in, but they don't say book 1.
Not even on
2.
the spine.
It's just, no, not on mine's. Mine's. Wow, I just went back to elementary school and got slapped. I believe they just say Harry Potter, like I have Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and that's it. Like the spine just says it in fancy lettering.
You're such an American noob. I am a British purist, and I am a Puritan, if you will, and I have the Philosopher's Stone, the original one, without all of your little localizations and your translation errors. All right, so
for the record, the European covers are really nice.
Yeah, that was a joke because that was a joke on people with Japanese to English anime subs. If anyone didn't know, or if they do know, now that's what the reference was.
You just insulted Ronaldo heavily.
That's why I can't completely agree with Ronaldo, because like I feel like Ronaldo's a guy that would sit there and go, no, but the attack names have to be in Japanese. And I know they sound cooler in Japanese, but in Japan people actually know what the fuck they're saying. So that's why it's kind of hard for me to, even with something like Kamehameha, I love it, but like there are just like there's a reason why you fucking call the move Spirit Bomb and not Genki Dama.
Oh, by the way, Liz is texting me noting that the original paperbacks, which I do not have, say year 1 and year 2.
Oh, that's interesting.
And that's true because I know, not that she would lie, but I remember when I was younger, I actually had to borrow a paperback from the library.
Mm-hmm.
And it was of Order of the Phoenix, and it said year 5.
Yeah, well, it's actually coming back to me. I don't know if it's the false memory thing. I don't know. That's a scientific thing where, like, you'll have memories falsely implanted in you if you agree with someone.
The power of suggestion is really powerful.
But I do believe that happened to me as well in elementary school. But jumping back to the character that I just did, that's what's so stupid about you Americans, because with my British puritism, we don't need to know what's year 1 and year 2. We're just smart enough to actually peruse the books, or as we call them, paper stacks. That's what we call them over there. All right, you American. I know I was born in America, but I was always made for Britain. All right, I love eating beans for breakfast. I was made for Britain.
Well, all right.
Like every single time I go to a doctor, I don't want to know their name. I just call them who.
Someone wants to punch you, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, man. Look, all right, I just call every man in a suit James, okay? I don't know.
I'm going to let that one
really
slide.
No, but seriously though, Ronaldo would hate me, and I probably wouldn't enjoy him either if he's going to go on a rant about how the Japanese language is so fucking pure. Like, I will super kick the man.
I would love
the Japanese
to see
language.
Super kick anyone. Honestly, like, I'd love to.
I've done it before. The Japanese language is a language, people. It's just a language, just like English.
I'm sorry.
What is fucking
No, verbatim, you said the Japanese language is a language, and I laughed because So there's a quote in basketball, right?
Yogi Berra? Oh.
No, there was a time when Russell Westbrook, who currently plays for the Oklahoma City Thunder,
right.
He was asked to talk about the Knicks, and he was like, "Well, they're an NBA team."
Wow, that's your way of saying I don't give a fuck. Like, that is your way of saying, like, in that context to me?
There's more to the quote, but it's just a hilarious, they're an NBA team. It's like, thanks, Russell. Thanks.
No, does he not like the Knicks, though? Because that's the kind of language I would use.
There was more, too. But there was a quote that was like, they're an NBA team, and it really got me to laugh, because it was like, thanks. Water is wet. Back to you, John.
It's like trying to say, look, for some of you that actually are watching this interview that don't know anything about the NBA, they are an NBA team. Like, you don't need last time on NBA. You don't need last time on NBA with, what was it, Russell Wilson? Was that it?
No, Russell Westbrook. I got confused myself. Russell Wilson's a quarterback. He plays for the Seattle Seahawks in football.
Okay.
Westbrook is the point guard for the Oklahoma City Thunder. But
just previously on NBA by Russell Westbrook. No, they're an NBA team.
Like, yep,
but yeah,
they are.
But seriously though, as we wrap things up, just my God, it's a fucking language. Like, there's nothing special or magical about it. I know some things might sound cooler, but
you're very opinionated tonight. Much respect.
Thank you. It's just, sorry. No, out of everything that I've said tonight, that thing is what angers me the most. Where I understand some things sound cooler in other languages, but damn it, we can't just sit here and just be like, no, everything has to be brought over. Like, look, foods, sure, names of certain places, sure, but it's just, you can't tell me that, like, a monster name that was made just so that someone can, in Japan, laugh at the absurdity of the monster name, has to be kept in Japanese so that we, in America, you and I, sit there and go, monster name. Right? No. There's something really stupid about it, like dandelion, or something really stupid that you're supposed to chuckle at or go, that's a pun. That we're not going to get because we're going to sit here and be like, no, Japan, it's such a pure language. My God, it's such a cool place. It's so kawaii desu. No, we can't.
So, like, did you have a bad day, or did this come up in the last week? Because you've got some serious passion going on here, and I just want to know.
No, because we made the Harry Potter reference, and then it always gets me back into my nerd rage for it.
Okay.
It's always a sleeping dragon, that translation nerd rage. And then all of a sudden, something will just literally make it come up, and I'll just transform. Henshin. Translation radar.
The angry internet fan once again.
Basically. But anyway, so the reason why we didn't go off on this episode a lot is because, I mean, we mentioned, I think we really got into, like, there were some fun moments, but I think we really got into the whole, like, to the heart of it very early. Even in this podcast, we're talking about some of the other stuff with Steven and Connie. In the first episode, full disclosure, what I want to mention is this episode, while obviously we mentioned earlier that it did air earlier than this, I do think it was a better follow-up. Like, I do think, not better, but I think it was a good follow-up, where we have an episode that says, no, you guys are friends again, it's okay. And then it goes into, they're friends again. They're still friends. I like that as a follow-up, rather than having Joyride be the actual follow-up.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. When I remember what the follow-up was, I thought, wait, no, I can actually say that it is better, in my opinion, to have this episode open book. Seeing them, hang out together after the huge moment that we had in the episode beforehand seems a lot nicer to me, I think, than having it blow off before things get serious with Jailbreak. Because that's the original production order, if you don't know. It's actually before everything gets serious with all of the stuff, with Jasper and and Jailbreak and everything. So it actually like had that moment, like the whole, oh, I like the ending, before they were not going to be friends again. If you go by production order.
That's interesting.
So that's what I'm saying. So like I'm a somewhat bigger fan, even though I know it's just air date, but I'm actually a bigger fan of the air date. You know, and that's why I think we should talk about it this way, because that's how it came on the air, and that's how you may see it in the future. You know? But yeah, so anything you want to comment on with the episode before we kind of try to wrap things up?
Yeah, no, so Open Book I really liked this. I think it caught the essence of Steven and Connie really well. Both like hey, they're not dating, they're like young, so let's let that, you know, all jokes about the wedding thing and all that shipping thing, let's keep it as like playful talk for now. And
yes.
It also was, I think, a nice way of doing the whole, like, hey, accept other people's opinions. Because Connie was so passionate about it and really, really into it. And, you know, Steven has a complete opposite opinion, but she has to accept it, not only because they're friends, but because he has reasons for liking what he does.
Yeah, no, it's really, really good that they're able to promote that, because I do think it's something that a lot of people forget. And, you know, it's sometimes even hard for me to notice if someone says, oh, yeah, you know, I saw this. And I'm like, oh, and my first question, which I'm truly nice about it, I'll go, oh, how much of it did you see? Because, you know, but then, you know, and if they said, oh, I saw the whole movie, or, oh, no, I saw the entire first season or something, I'd go, yeah, that's enough. Like, you're good. But then sometimes I even try to put, like, a thing where it might be like, oh, so how much of it did you see? Oh, I saw 5 minutes. And I'm like, no, see more, no, right? Because sometimes it is kind of hard if you're just jumping into the middle of a movie or in the beginning of a movie and then just go, nope. Like, that's really quick for me anyway, as someone who watches a lot of crap, to just pass judgment on something, right? But at the same time, if someone said to me, oh, no, I saw this and I just did not like it, there's never a chance that I'll ever like it, and I don't want to try it again. While I might want to convince them just because I'm very open-minded myself, I do have to accept if they're just going to sit there and go, no, I just don't like this. Like, I really, really don't like it. After watching it, though, I am a stickler, I think, if someone says, oh, I don't like it, and they never watched it. Because it's kind of like, wait, but you've never seen it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think with movies, it's harder for me, but with TV shows, I've mentioned this before to you, I always give it like 3 episodes.
Yes. But at least, by the way, watch Scream Queens. But anyway, 3 episodes. I promise that you'll be hooked on episode 2, if not 1.
It's not. I mean, it's possible.
It's possible.
I owe a friend. I have to start watching The Legend of the Seeker, but
Legend of the Scream Queens. That's right. Because you owe a friend. You owe me. You probably don't. I actually might owe you some things. Shit. Like I might owe you some things actually. Well, crap. This turned bad.
It's okay.
No, but seriously though, you know, at least in this case, both Steven and Connie have read all of the books. They know the entire. They're just 2 fans who have differing viewpoints, and that's okay. You know, I think that's what's even better because, you know, while we just kind of got into logistics of, oh, no, but this, and this. No. It's not someone who doesn't like something because they stopped watching it. It's someone who watched the entire show and who might sit there and go, wow, you know, that was a good ending or that was a bad ending. I think the only show that I can really sit there and think, man, everyone is completely like, it is an entire army of people on the same side, is the ending of How I Met Your Mother. I think that's the only show that I've ever seen people go, no, I just didn't like it.
And generally
like
dislike,
everyone.
In terms of, like there was a general, because like I've seen a lot of people universally love an ending.
Yes. Oh, no, of course. That or
like,
I think
season 8 was a really big.
I was going to say that to you. I was going to talk about it, though, on the dislikes. If you're on the dislike train, I was talking about disliking Season 9, or at least the idea that Season 9 exists.
Right. If you treat it like a separate show, it's still really funny, but the attachment to the original one is harsh.
Did I remember I said that to you, or did we both come to that conclusion separately?
No, I've heard it before, but you had said that to me. Like that.
Yes.
To you, it works really well as a separate show, and I agree with you completely.
Yeah, no, because you have to look at season 9. Even though, sadly, it's funny too because JD didn't appear, which I was really hoping he wouldn't, because Turk and Cox and a little bit of Kelso here and there, you can take as a separate show. You know, it is a spin-off technically, but you really didn't have to call it Scrubs, or you could have called it. I mean, they did call it Scrubs. Okay, I think after the initial airing, they had a tagline to it. But at first, I think it was just Scrubs, Season 9. But with the tagline, it really does make it seem like, oh, this is a spin-off rather than just Season 9. Right? And it could work as a spin-off. The problem is JD started appearing to bro it up with Turk, and it was just, oh, God, I got so fucking mad. I was like, even though they made the shirts, that's where the shirts came from, I believe. The whole partying from now until we don't even know when. Because it was question marks?
That's earlier. That's in the early seasons.
But did it come back for that season or no? I believe it came back then.
Because my memory is weak.
Also, I have to admit, then this I know is certain. It did give us the Future Doctors quote.
Yeah, that's definitely.
So I can't condemn the show. Also, it gave us fucking Dave Franco going, oh, don't let your baby listen to. It was like your baby in the womb listen to French music because that'll make it gay, yo. And then having Cox walk by, French music will make your baby gay. Future Doctors, everybody. Future Doctors. So it gave us some really funny, asinine shit. But at the same time, it was season 9, and I couldn't fucking stand it for existing. So that happened.
I like the general concept here of like two people can enjoy something together and still have completely different opinions, or they can not enjoy. You know, someone may not like what you like, etc., etc. But it's okay.
Yeah, you know, and it's interesting because it's funny how I agree with both Connie and Steven's view. It's weird how I can agree with both because while I do think that I can see Steven talking about some plants that Connie may not have seen because Connie doesn't seem the one to enjoy. Like, Connie seems like the more calm one. So I feel like she is the one who might not be able to see something that's like, no, that's like an act of, like, he's scared for her. And then she might go, but she could do this. But he doesn't know that. Like, I enjoyed that. Yes, though I will admit, I do agree with her because a lot of the time, you know, it's the idea that, you know, once something gets more popular, corporate puts their thumbprint on it and gets a lot of cooks in the kitchen. You know, too many cooks in the kitchen.
You and I have talked about this a lot for TV shows. And TV shows themselves make a lot of jokes about this. Like, oh, it's great. We just need to make one minor change. Oh, and it can't do this at all.
Yeah, no, it's just really funny where it's just imagine, you know, like Upside Down Town, right? Oh, yeah, no, we love it. It's going to be a great show for kids. But can it be a right side up town?
Yeah, it's like also, Boondocks where Huey made the whole play about Black Jesus, and it's like, oh yeah, there's a minor continuity error here. I think this scene should be in the day. Also, Jesus can't be black.
So that was a show made in the Boondocks at one point? Or they were trying to?
Huey was casted to like basically run the Christmas play.
Oh, okay. Because, you know, Black Jesus is a thing now.
And he was given full creative control.
Okay. Yeah, I'm only curious because, as you know,
I know Black Jesus is a TV show right now, yes.
Made by the creator of Boondocks.
Works out fine by me. But
yeah, really funny show, by the way. But no, it's really great. All jokes aside, just have those two viewpoints going at it and having them both, you know, have come to, while they both disagree, having great points. And yeah, but you were mentioning the whole, you know, Jesus can't be black. And it's just, yeah, that happens a lot more than you think. You know, I mean, I mentioned this, I forgot what show it was. Oh, I think it was for our, I know that we recorded we recorded an episode based on the play, which may not have happened yet. Oh, no. It hasn't happened yet, has it?
No, it has not.
Well, sometimes we record things early. Whoops. Anyway, point is that it's going to come. Don't worry, it'll come out. But the point is that a lot of creative control happens a lot. So you'll be hearing about it in the future. But a lot of creative control, comes out of people who are actually funding something. And again, for anyone binge watching, don't worry, it'll come up.
You'll find it. But
you'll find it.
Overlook was a charming episode. That's the way I look at it.
It was really nice. It was a really nice episode, and I really enjoyed it. And and I can't wait for us to do some more, because we're actually we're a lot closer to catching up than people think. I know it's like they're on episode 2. It's like, well, there's only 20 episodes out, so it's actually
we'll get there.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna ramp up the pace, and even if we didn't ramp up the pace, we have to wait for 2016 for new episodes. Now, for all of you binge watching, you're fine, right? In the future, you're fine. You're good. You're so good. You don't have to wait like us. You're so good. But we have to wait. So it's a little taxing. It is. A little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
I don't disagree.
Yeah. But anyway, so we'd like to thank you all for listening in. I'm going to do my little social media spiel that I always do. And, So, all right, we have done a lot of different shows. Now, I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm going to go through some of the bigger ones that I think we've done. You and I have done WWE Monday Night Raw, and we've also done WWE pay-per-views. We, as a podcast, group, we've also done Dragon Ball Z movies and OVAs, as well as Dragon Ball movies and OVAs, and Bleach movies and Bleach OVAs. We've done a variety of live-action shows, both superhero, and otherwise. Speaking of British shows, we've also done Doctor Who, which is really funny. And we also, speaking of video games, we've done Pokemon. So that's what we have. Right? We have that down. So boom. We've done those. Where can you find those? Well, you can find those on our main website, thoseguysontheradio.tumblr.com. Also on our Facebook, /thoseguysontheradio, our Twitter, @thoseguysradio, and our Instagram, /thoseguysontheradio. If you like taking in your media, taking in our podcasts, by downloading them, you not only can use our Blog Talk Radio, which is what you're currently listening to us on live, you can also check out our iTunes, which is Those Guys on the Radio, and you can download our podcasts from there, our entire archive from there, 200-plus shows on different topics from iTunes. If you like watching them through YouTube, that's how you get your media. Our YouTube account is TGOTR, Those Guys on the Radio, right? TGOTR. You can find us through that or through Those Guys on the Radio. That's our channel name. I am constantly updating it with some of our newer content. And, we have our podcasts on there as well. If you like Let's Plays, that's awesome, because we do Let's Plays as well. Don't we, Satish?
We definitely do. And we've got at least 3 of them out, right? No, 2 of them out, right?
No, 3 of them. Because, Satish, you aren't on all of them. Not yet, anyway.
Right.
Because we have a lot of people podcasting with us, and so we're trying to get them on, as well as some others who don't podcast with us as well, because we have friends. We have friends. So, so we have our Let's Play channel, which is TGP, Those Guys Play. Right now, in terms of Let's Play episodes, we have 3 episodes up. We have the first episode being you and I, Satish and I, playing WCW Mayhem for the PS1. Legally, right, our producers say I have to say Mayhem like that when I'm referring to WCW Mayhem. So if I say, oh, God, it's Mayhem, I'm good, right? But legally, it's actually in our contract. When I say WCW Mayhem, it has to be said that way. Otherwise, we're going to have a lawsuit in our hands. Okay, that's Satish's reaction. Okay, so believe me, I hate it too, man, because I just want to be able to just say the word mayhem like that when I'm referring to mayhem, but I can't. Legally, we just cannot. So anyway, what matters is that we played WCW Mayhem. Crap. God. Oh, God, no. Mayhem. Good. If I do it twice, I actually negated the other one. For the PlayStation 1. That's what we've done, you and I. The first episode of our Let's Play. The second episode was actually myself and Tristan Walter. we actually played Hot Wheels Turbo Racing for the PS1, as well as Pets Crazy Monkeys for the Nintendo Wii. It's a harrowing tale through our own personal sanity. Not for Hot Wheels, actually. That was a game he enjoyed as a child. Pets Crazy Monkeys was definitely an inner look at myself and my personal demons. So we got to do those 2 episodes. Also, Tristan Walter and I have done Luigi's Mansion for our first part of our Halloween special. And coming up tomorrow, it should be Satish Ram and I doing Halloween special part 2, which, I'll say on this show, I'll give you a little sneak peek, is Dreaming Mary. That's the game that we'll actually be playing tomorrow, which, again, will be on our Let's Play channel, TGP. Those guys play. Also, Satish Ram, has made a lot of different created entrances. If you're a WWE fan and you like the WWE games, WWE 13, 14, 15, 16, 2K, without the rest, you're going to definitely like some of the funny created entrances he's made with a lot of different professional wrestlers in a lot of very unique ways. So, again, you can check that out, our Let's Play channel, TGP, those guys play. And, to wrap everything up, to sign off, we also have ourselves a Bandcamp account, tgotr.bandcamp.com, where we have some of our exclusive podcasts, again, for wrestling fans. We have some exclusive WWE pay-per-view recaps, where we've done WWE SummerSlam 2005 and WWE Unforgiven 2005, and they're both for the low, low price of $1. You can pay more if you want to support us, or just pay the $1. And now to truly wrap everything up, we have merchandise as well. You can definitely get some of our merchandise. You can find it through our main site, or if you want to go to the source directly, you can go to cafepress.com/TGOTR merchandise, or you can go to screened.com/TGP merchandise. If you want to get some of our shirts there, we have some shirts, hats, and stuff like that. Constantly adding some more merchandise. Really fun stuff for you wrestling fans or those guys fans. I think you really enjoy it. And that is that. That's all we have. That's all we've ever done. It happened. Here we are.
All right, then.
So would you like to say anything before we go to Dish?
No, I feel like it's cute because Open Book was a cute little filler episode, so we didn't give it much time, but, it was cute.
It was. No, I really did enjoy it. It sounds like we didn't give it enough time, but I think that a lot of the things I would have mentioned for Open Book were mentioned in Full Disclosure, so it's kind of hard to kind of bring up the same ideas again. But yeah, no, it's just a really nice episode, and I really enjoyed it, more so than some of you might think. I really did. It was really cute. It's just that we don't want to sit here and just constantly do quotes for 20, 30 minutes because, you have a life, Satish. You have things to do. While we love doing this, still, you have things to do. I don't want to sit here just ramble off quotes for half an hour. So, but believe me, we really love the episode, and we're really loving this show. So definitely, if this is your first listen to and you're like, oh, they talk about a lot of different things. Well, we do, right? We do. But Steven Universe, it's really close to us, I think. We're really, really digging the show. And you should definitely check it out. If you think that our review is accurate, great, yeah, check it out. If you don't, still check it out for yourself. Really definitely take the plunge and watch the show because it's a really, really, really good show. All right? So, yeah. So, again, thank you all for listening in. Thank you all for listening to those guys. So, say goodnight, Satish.
Good night, Satish.